Hey guys, welcome to Multicam 101. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from, and if you have any questions or comments about Multicam, challenges you might have in that area. It's kind of one of those areas that I love teaching people how to use it, just because it's helped me so much in editing faster. So one of my mantras is edit faster, edit better. Why do I say that? I mean, it's kind of counterintuitive. If you can edit faster and get the mechanics out of the way and get the mundane part of the editing out of the way, then you're going to be getting to the creative part quicker, right? So edit faster that way. So if you can get that stuff out of the way, if you can automate, if you can memorize, if you can just become kind of like one with your machine and get techniques down that will help you go way faster in the short term, and the long run, it's going to get your project done quicker. So you can focus more time, more energy, more creative thought into what you're actually creating. So let me know again, like where you're watching from. You got any comments? I've got a simple little multicam setup here that I'll kind of demonstrate for you and how I would do this. My screen dims, so I have to do this, and then it wakes up. That's kind of the beauty of, I have this LG 42-inch plasma OLED, which is great for color and everything, but it's there's a it goes to sleep, or it dims rather the screen to save the pixels. There is a hack, I've been told, to disable that. I don't want to disable my or do away, jeopardize my warranty. But if you know the hack, let me know in the comments too. Love to fix that up. So let's dive right in here. Multicam. So what I've got here, let's go into, you can see. I'm gonna turn that off. All right, so I've got right here, right away, you can see there's a timeline. I've already kind of pre-synced it just to show you what it's going to look like in the long run. And let me turn the volume down a little bit on that. So we got 3 angles, a 2-shot, single, and the audio in this one is actually coming from the 2-shot, or camera B, camera 2. So I'll show you how to split that up. You'll notice that we hear it on left and right, but I'll show you how to mono that out and mix it correctly on one timeline. So what you want to do is, that sequence here is represented by this source sequence, which I'm going to show you how we're going to make it. But the short of it is, drag it over here, and that's not what we wanted to do. This is exactly what I'm showing you not to do, because a lot of times people will stack their clips like pancakes, checkerboard, all the way up and down. Then they'll trim, they'll do this, they'll do this, they'll trim this in, the option drag that up, we'll trim this, and then we'll do this. This is camera D. So, I mean, you can see, you can get there. You can cut between those different angles, but what you're going to have to end up doing now is paying attention to twice or more as many edits to trim. I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this whole thing. The reason it did that is because this little button here was not checked. This is very important. I wish they had a shorter name for this, called a mini timeline or sort. Anyway, insert and overwrite sequences. It's just a terrible name. Click it on, okay? And when you click it on, you'll see that those multiple sources on the left side, Now go to 1, which is what you want. That means that all these angles are going to come over as a container or a nested sequence. I drag it over. So now you'll see that because it's green, it's telling us that that's a multicam clip. In fact, if I turn on video names, you'll see right here, it's really small probably on there, but it says MC1, Multicam 1. All right, so now all the angles are in there, and all I got to do is just, while I play it, you can see it zoom in. So I just made several edits there. So you'll notice now, as I play it back, it's cutting between those. See how much easier that is? Oh my gosh. And then further, if I just want to change that whole angle, I'm like, no, I want it to be on his shot. Oh, oops. We'll go to, I mapped up here on my keyboard. So I mapped the numeric to cut to camera and the top row of numbers to select camera. And that's something you can map in your keyboard settings. But so now if I hit 1, it goes to the 2 shot. If I go to 2, it goes to his shot. If I go to 3, it goes to her shot. But you notice it didn't add an edit. So it's just kind of nice having those options. So sometimes you just want to change the whole angle. And of course you can add edits. Traditionally, I have add edit mapped to E for edit. Holdover from Avid. I didn't want to do the audio too, but I can clean that up later. But I can just right click and join through edits. Okay, so how do we build this sequence? Let me show you. All right, let's delete that. Let's drag these clips back out to this parent folder. Delete that source sequence. I'll leave it there, just in case we mess up. All right, the easy way to do it is just literally just right click on these 3 angles. And I have a shortcut. If I go into Premiere, so what this is called, create multi-camera source sequence. So I have it mapped as a keyboard shortcut, and you just hit audio and then go. But just to back up so you saw what I did, if you right click on those clips, if you don't have it mapped, you just go to create multi-camera source sequence. And when you do that, it's going to end up looking like this little mini timeline right here. It's probably really small in there, but let's go to full screen. See if that's a little bit better. Okay. Yeah. So we'll go back to those. Right click. Create multi-camera source sequence. And in this case, I'm just going to do audio to show you. You have different options. You have in point, out point, time code, sound time code, audio. Audio is probably what most people are doing now because it's kind of the lazy man's way. You don't need a slate. As long as you have audio recorded on all the cameras, then this works. If not, it will not work, and you'll need a slate. That's why I always slate it anyway. So then I hit OK. It's going to process them. It's analyzing the waveforms. It's going to line them all up of all those cameras if they have audio. If they don't, it'll give me an error. And go get a rendering treat. Oh, it's already down. I was just going to take a drink of coffee here. It's decaf. It's too late for full-on coffee. And it's actually not Starbucks. This was, I don't know what this was. This was a Grande Pike with light almond milk. I had I think that was, well, I had Black Rifle. I ran out of that. So I went to a Pete's decaf. It's okay. All right. So now we have another little source sequence. I'm going to double click on it. And you can see, kind of watch their actions, make sure it's in sync. All right. Looks relatively in sync. So I can literally just drag it on there like I showed you before. I'm going to deselect this because I'm always going to, if I have a sequence already set up, I'm just going to say keep existing. but I could leave it, click that. It wouldn't really matter in this case. Okay, so let's go to a place here where all right, so I might just say that I'm going to start this whole sequence here. I'm just going to hit 1. Oh, ha. I mapped that. This is a good place to show you my keyboard shortcuts, because what I did there was, because I changed my shortcuts. Multicam, I mapped, you can see select camera 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And over here, cut to camera 1, 2, 3, 4. You can put them wherever you want. It's just kind of what I'm used to doing. I also have a regular Dan 2022. What I meant to do is I hit ripple edit 1, or ripple edit to the cursor, which, boom. If you don't know that and you're not using it yet, this is another thing that you're gonna love. It's gonna save your life. Serious. Okay, so this is not something I would normally do, is go back and forth between keyboard shortcuts. Usually when I'm editing a timeline like Multicam, I'm kind of in that mode for like a day or half a day or something. So I'll switch over and I can get rid of some of my other functionality. I'm going to go back to Multicam. In fact, I'll make keyboard shortcuts based on something I'm doing kind of a heavy workload on for a few days or a week. Kind of just build it around that. Like, just customize your software to work faster for you for the mode you're in, because there's a lot of different editing modes: graphics, audio, effects, color grading, metadata. I never use that. Film metadata, I do use. Okay, so there's another thing you're going to notice. Okay, so we've got this cool sequence, right? I've already showed you how you can. All right, let's go to her close up. This is 4K footage, so I'm going to kind of bring it down to half. All right, let's go to his angle, or 2-shot. Go to his. 2. It's probably lagging because of this Ecamm software I'm running at the same time. Usually this is pretty easy for it to run through. Okay, so we've got those angles, right? But do you notice anything weird about some of the raster or the framing of these shots? So like this is not filling the frame. This is filling the frame, but it's got letterbox, so this is a wider frame. This one is actually, it was recorded in DCI spec. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to go in to the original timeline that makes this up. Okay, so if you double click on it, it just opens up the source sequence. But if you go back to I just hit match frame and then match bin. So it opened up right to this sequence. Those are 2 other commands you should know. So what you can do to open up this source sequence as its own timeline, just to do a little maintenance and get it to where you want it to be, open up hold down Command, double click. And now you can see all the angles it stacked for you. And now I can see, like, okay, let's check the source sequence settings. So we've got, there's our problem. So this is a broadcast show. I'm not going to want it in 4096. That's DCI. That's theatrical spec. So let's change that to 3840. And what we're going to do is we're going to end up just cropping off the edges of that one shot that was too wide. And hit OK. And let's turn off this one. That one looks fine. That one looks fine. Yeah, so now everything is, let's go to effects. You can see when I scale it down, it's zoomed in for me. Okay, so now when we come back out, where were we? Let's change the sequence on this one. These are still zoomed out, so what you can do is just go, I have a setting for set frame size. So, which is the same as if you were to right click and go set to frame size, not scale. They're similar but not the same. Use set. So because these are also that way, I'm just gonna select everything. And I'm gonna hit my sequence, my shortcut, but since it's hard to see on this stream, I will do this. Okay, so now everything's happy. And of course, this is an HD timeline, so I can scale this way up with no penalty and resolution. So that is all very doable. Okay, so we have those are correct. Now the other thing, you'll notice that the audio, if you look at the waveforms here, we've got her mic on this channel and his mic on the left. It's flipped somehow in my ears. Anyway, they're on different channels. So a real quick way to fix that would be just to option drag this down and then just change this one by going right click and go to audio channels, and I'm going to select 1 and 1. So channel 1 is going to fill the left and right of the stereo output of the sequence. Okay, so now you notice now it's monoed, it's the same. His mic is now going to left and right. So if we solo it, or her mic. Okay. Same thing on his. And we're going to go to audio channels. We're going to go to 2 because it's on channel 2 that his mic is on. See, right? If it's left and right, 1 and 2. Left always corresponds to 1, 2. Or right always goes to 2. So I put them on channel 2 on left and right. Are you confused? I hope not. It's not that hard. So now we're going to have both mics centered, which is what you want, right? Okay. Now another way of doing that, let's undo all that. Would be to, remember that little button I showed you earlier? You can use that, in this case, to your advantage. So I'm going to match frame to the original sequence. It marked in for me right there. I'm going to turn off video and just leave on audio and make sure 1's going to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, and you can also do that by just going, let's see, where is it? There's a reset. Oh, if it's like, maybe if it's flipped. Yeah. So now it'll say default source sequence. So you put them back to 1, 2, 3. A little bonus there. Okay. So now with those selected, I'm going to hit overwrite. I have it mapped to B. And we had an out point there. We're going to delete that out point. Hit B again. Boom. Let's do it one more time. I'm going to hold down Option and Shift. Option, select, so it only selects this track. See, if I select this together, it's synced with that, so it's going to delete that also if I do that. We don't want that. Option, select, delete. Now, overwrite. These are still synced because I match framed the exact same endpoint. So now you'll notice I've got a bunch of tracks here. This one is just the camera mic. Let me turn this up so you can hear it better. Okay. And then this one is, I think, the similar.
Your story at all until you came out with this book.
That is actually the boom, which we put on. In this shoot, we didn't have an audio recorder mixing it all together. So we utilized all 6 tracks of the audio for all 3 cameras. Combined, you have 6, so each one has 2. So we had a wireless lav on each person, and then a shotgun or a dialogue mic on boom on the third one. So we put that on a different camera. So I don't need that. I'll leave it there. So I could either mute it, or I can disable it, which again, I have that mapped as a shortcut here. Enable, something I use pretty often. So, and then I'm gonna, careful when you select stuff, you don't move it when you do it. So I just select it and disable that. Let's do that one again. Okay. And now we're back to this channel.
I hear you talking about this book, and I'm like, I have.
So what I could do is I'm going to select those, and I hit Command down arrow, which nudges or moves to the track below. I can always drag it, but that's more accurate. I know I'm not going to be messing it by mistake, nudging it left, bumping the frames. Now I'm going to option drag like I did previously. They both work, but this takes you back to the actual original audio file, which is what you're going to need if you were to send this to a Pro Tools guy or to an audio mixer. You can't export nested audio to Pro Tools. It doesn't know what to do with it. You got to do a little homework. So it's kind of worth doing that. It keeps it a little cleaner. If you're still like in the kind of working stage offline, I wouldn't do it yet, but because you're going to be moving content around, it's really easy to do that when they're still as a multicam sequence all synced together. But when you're getting near your completion point, you're getting ready to do an audio output, this is kind of worth doing. So now, again, I'm just going to go right click and go to audio channels. I'm going to make that left on that channel, and we're going to make this one right on both 1 and 2. Okay, and so then,
So I was adopted by 2 ex-sharecroppers. Like a lot of
so now you've got at least a starting point for mixing, and then I would further go beyond that with, while he's talking, I'm probably going to turn her mic down, duck it, basically. I'll create 4 keyframes, so now I can just drag this one down. And I don't want it to happen during a word. I want it to be invisible when it happens.
Yeah.
Tell me about this.
So I was adopted by 2 ex-sharecroppers. Like a lot of people were.
I don't bring it all the way down, because if they do some ahas and oh yeah, that's cool or whatever, you still hear it. It gets tricky. You can leave them both up, but you can get some phasing. You get a little more room noise. That way it's just a lot tighter on this one mic, on his mic. So anyway, I'm not going to go into that too much, but that's kind of where I would go with that. Let's see, what else do we got? Coffee break. Let's see. Proxies. How many of you have used proxies? And yes, we've been able to do proxies in Premiere for many moons. Many moons. And generate them in the background for a long time. Somebody asked me about that the other day, that they wish that could be, hey, Tyler, what's up, man? So proxies are something basically you just generate by just right click on the clip. Let's not do that. And just go to proxies, create proxies. And it's going to, I'll just do ProRes, medium, even low. I don't really like to use a lot of extra disk space for this, so I'll go QuickTime. HD64 is fine now. It used to be problematic, but on slower computers, on the M1 computers, MP4 is fine. Anyway, so I'll put that, and then I'll leave it next to the original media. It's going to put it in its own proxy folder. And you can just hit OK. And it's going to open up Media Encoder. I just installed the new 2024, so it's having to verify it first. You know how it does that. Haven't even maiden voyage of Media Encoder 2024. It's pretty exciting. I have been playing with the beta of Premiere. A little side note here. It's been really cool. And I think the big thing really is just how you can do the remove filler words in text-based editing. And also, they have the enhanced audio feature in there now, which is nice. Now you don't have to do the Adobe Podcast website thing. It seems to be working a lot better than when I was messing with it before. It seems to be more on par with Descript Studio Sound. So that was, I used that on my last live. I had an audio buzz in it, and I didn't know, I wasn't using headphones, I didn't hear it. I had some sort of ground loop with this cable going through my DBX compressor, and then coming out of it into the mixer. One of the cables had a ground loop, and so I should pan this camera left a little bit. There's that better. Okay. Wow. Motion array? No, I don't want your plugins. Okay. Anyway, all that would have happened way faster had this been running. But you can see it's already encoding it. I don't want to encode it because I already have them. So, but the point is you can do that in the background. And in fact, many times I'll have started those 3 and then say I've got like 50 more. I'll go in another folder, select all of them, right click or go to my, I usually will map it at that point to a hot button on my Stream Deck and create proxies and send it. So it just keeps adding it to the queue, to the watch folder. As you'll see, auto encode watch folders is checked. So it's just going to go sequentially, go through all those. And this is a pretty long interview, so I'm going to stop that because I already have them done. But there, once that's complete, it'll automatically relink these clips. Not relink them, but it'll attach to them those proxies it created. Which now, let me see. Let's go to proxy. Let's see. I think I already did this. Reveal in Finder. No, that's not what I want to do. Actually, Tyler, let's see what are your 5 favorite add-on plugin tools for Premiere, and what would you recommend to Adobe to help fix their own tools? Ha, good question. I tend to use I tend to stick with built-in plugins for the most part. I have gone over the years through like so many plugins and buying so many, and I don't think I'm currently using any paid ones in Premiere. But what I do, and I need to update, since I updated to Premiere, I lost all my favorites and I need to bring those over. So let's go to Command 7, bring up my effects. What I'll do is I'll answer your question in real time here. One of my favorites would be warp stabilizer, right? So let's make a custom bin. I'll call this faves. Where'd it go? Oh, wave warp too. I like that a lot. And audio, I'll use compressor. These things are so small. Multiband, I like that one. EQ, these are kind of boring ones. FFT, I use that a lot. Transform, I use transform a lot. Is this all I can? Form. And what I use transform for is, especially like on adjustment layers, like if I wanted to have all of this stuff scale up or down or left or right all together, I'll put an adjustment layer and then put transform on it. That's probably nothing new to you, right? Anybody use that? It's kind of a cool thing. Same thing you can do in After Effects. Crop. I don't know why crop. Okay, there's a recommendation. This is very simple request, but crop should just be a part of the effects, the native effects controls. It should just be right here. Let's go to a video clip. Crop should just be part of like the motion tab. That's my opinion. Second thing I would say for Adobe to please improve would be keyframing. As in keyframe. Oh, good. Never heard of using that. Oh, good. I'm glad it's helpful. That is, if you want, I can, in a minute, I'll if you hang around, I'll show you in real time, like how I do it for like photos and photo montages and stuff. Keyframing, I wish I had all of the keyboard shortcuts that I do in After Effects in keyframes. What I mean is like, you know, if I had a keyframe here for position, I wish I had, well, maybe let's check before I do this. Is there like in After Effects, I would hit K to go to the previous keyframe and L to go to the next one. And I don't remember if they added that in there. But even if they did, there's so many keyframe shortcuts that are seriously lacking. So, and I'm glad you're going to use this tomorrow. Do you want me to show you that? Okay, I'll do, this is kind of weird on the multicam, but I'll just do it. Okay, so let's go go back to my project and go to new adjustment layer. And we're going to drag it on top of this. Drag it out to the whole thing. Please. Okay, I'm with you, bro. I got you. Okay. Transform. So I'm going to go back to my Command 7 is my effects shortcut. I'm going to drag transform on there. And now, say I want, imagine this was like a reel. You know, this is like way shorter than this. So let's just go to like right here. And I'm going to hit scale. Oh, not scale on this one. That one doesn't do anything because that's the inherent property of that. It won't scale below it. It only scales itself. So undo that. Go to transform. Now it will scale or position or anchor or skew anything below it. So add a scale keyframe, and now let's go up. So now you notice that between those keyframes, let's move this. This is another beauty of this, is you can just drag this adjustment layer anywhere you want and copy it and paste it on different places in the timeline. So now I hit play.
Totally different story than
It's scaling
yours,
up.
I didn't know your story at all until you came out with this book.
Yeah.
I hear you talking about this book, and I'm like, I have to talk to
So
Willie.
you see you got those two
Like,
keyframes.
so this is the first
And
time.
then,
this is totally organic.
like, say, imagine this is a bunch of photos. Let's change this.
Totally different story than yours, but I didn't know your story at all until you came out with this book.
Where's her angle? Oh, I turned off all the angles. Let's go back here. let's do this. I'm going to create a new sequence here. And I'm going to drag that copy of this C onto and let's go into multicam mode here. Let's see. Oh, it's another thing I hadn't got to yet. What is happening with my multicam? Why is it not running out of RAM? Okay. Like that. What's happening here? Let's go back here. Command double click. I am going to restart Premiere because I think it might have just ran out of RAM. I don't know. It shouldn't be black on those screens. Hey, at least it didn't crash. Let's see if that did it. Offline. Yeah. What do you know? Fixed it. Okay. Let's go back here. So now I was trying to show how this transform works, right? Okay, so now you got those three angles.
The U.S. when I was 3.
Wow.
So totally different story than
It's
yours.
scaling
but I didn't know your
evenly
story at all
across
until
all
you
the
came out with
angles.
This book.
Yeah.
I hear
Is
you
that
talk
cool or what?
about this book, and I'm like, I have to talk.
What's really nice about that, when I discovered how that works across, like, you know, when you're doing B-roll of photos of a story and you've got like family photos back to back, and you want them all just like evenly scaling up, you could individually do that, but it's just very time consuming, and that they don't always match the same rate because the length of the shot might be different. So the distance of the keyframes makes it go faster or shorter. So this makes it like this really even, like almost never ending thing. Like, why does it keep scaling up? It's pretty wild how it works when you have multiple shots back to back. So and of course you can do many things with that effect. So if we go into effects, you know, you can, oh, here's another reason to use transform. Yes, it is almost kind of like some fake robot dolly movements. It's pretty insane. This is where, now if you get into doing something like if you want motion blur, this is how you do it. You can't get motion blur inherently in the motion tab of Premiere unless you change the shutter angle. You can do that in, you can only do it in After Effects. So if you want something to blur, I could go, let's move that keyframe here. I'm going to pop up like really big. So now I'm going to go between those shots. Say I wanted that to be blurry as it was going in. I can change the shutter angle to, let's say, 360. And now you notice there's a little bit of motion blur.
Stepdad in the U.S. when I.
But if I go really fast, you're going to really see it. Now you see it. Try that without transform. So that's a couple really cool ways you can do that. Keep coming, Tyler. What else you got? Got another question? Meanwhile, let me see, what else did I miss on multicam? What I was going to say about multicam also is I'm going to go Command, double click, open up its own timeline. And you can also add in more. Say like I've got this blank fourth shot here missing. I can add another angle just by dragging in there and then go synchronize, which you could do. Or say like if you have a bunch of angles you're not using anymore, you can also just delete them and say like, for some reason there was something wrong with that one. I could just use these two. So, and then what I would probably do is delete empty tracks. And I just click delete empty right there. You didn't really see as much there because it's literally quadrants, so it doesn't have anywhere else to go. But that's kind of a thing you can do. Also, sometimes your clips will look like this. Like if camera 3 started way late, camera 2 started later. And go reveal in. If I go to the beginning, see how there's just like a bunch of empty space here before all cameras are running. So in this, let's say that the interview doesn't start until they're all running. So what I would do is here, I would just come in here and option, and then drag them all to the front so that way the sequence just starts all together. See, isn't that much more clean? I like to have nice clean timelines, and I might even do it here at the end. Let's go back to my favorite shortcuts. So in that case, I would just do, if these were selected, I'd hit 2. Ripple, trim, ripple, delete at the end. Let's see. Oh, did I already show that? I showed you the keyboard. Sorry about that. Frame sizes. So, switch live. So, really the key for me in multicam editing is to get to the place where set it all up like this. It literally takes me 5 minutes or less. And then do a live cut. If I'm doing an interview like this, I'll like watch it as if I were directing the cameras live on a switcher. And I just treat 1, 2, and 3 like it is. They can see it added that at the end because I trimmed the original shot from whence I had made it. Let's undo all that. There, see, all that went away because it like shifted everything left, and that would have been, it would have totally screwed up all this editing. But what I do is I'll just,
there's another option,
do this live edit, and then I'll go through, and then I might say, oh, okay, I really meant to be on her shot, so I'll just hit, let's go back to my settings. Multicam. I really should add that trim edit to my multicam. I want to change that one to, let's turn on the track, her shot. So I just hit select camera 3, which is really nice. So like if you're just going through here, and then you can also just, of course, you can trim the edits. That's the other big thing. Like say that, you didn't get to that reaction quick enough, come back. So basically I'll watch it once all the way through live, then I'll go back through and I'll trim edits a second time. And that's how I do that. Okay, so you might ask, why don't you just use Autopod, Dan? AI fixes all this, right? Well, it does make things way faster, like to just do something. You mentioned robotic dolly move. Well, that would be kind of the robotic edit. So I think it's a very cool tool, but I would use Autopod to like maybe get your first cut done, but then you're gonna have to go back through anyway and make it so that your edits aren't literally whenever someone talks. good. AI is always the thing, right? So I don't want my cameras cutting every time somebody says a word. That's just really boring because to me, it's all about action, reaction. A lot of times you want to be on the opposite person, not talking, to see what they're saying. And you have to use your human brain to hear what they're saying that might make an interesting reaction, right? So it's really when you're directing, good directing, you're not really looking at program, you're looking at the preview, or you're looking at the cameras, where they're coming, what's coming up, not what I'm literally on at that moment. That's very robotic. So I think it's an amazing tool. I have not used it on our project yet. I've watched all the demos and it looks amazing. I don't think it's really AI though. I think it's really more like just good computer programming. Like I think they could have done that 20 years ago because it's just literally every time this waveform peaks, it cuts to that camera. So it's not like it's intelligently analyzing what they're saying. That would be a little more impressive, I think. I mean, it's impressive, but I don't know. What do you think? Have you tried it, Tyler? Pastor Paul, no, you are the legend. Oh, I forget I can. Boom, there you are. I can never do this because yet. Why is my text yellow? It's all smoke and mirrors. We just try to talk shop, and confuse everyone about video editing to make it seem harder than it really is so that we can keep our jobs. Right, Tyler? Funny stuff. Oh, I will add this on the multicam thing is people ask me about the synchronize. Again, that's fine, but it like takes 3 or 4 times more steps than you need to take. Why would you select all the clips, drag them into a sequence, and then you have to just now drag it up here. Oops, let me do the audio. I'm going to drag this. Oops. And now I'm going to say synchronize, right? Where are you? Synchronize word. Oh, I didn't have it all selected. Oh, because I have no other audio clips selected. That's why. So you would do this. I'll have to fix the audio, the video. But now I can just say synchronize. Oh my gosh. Let's do that again. Drag this up, drag this down, drag it over. Now I'm going to go synchronize audio. Okay, so now it's going to do that. When literally I can do the same thing by just lassoing the 3 clips and hit multicam button, and that's it. And it's done. So, yeah, you can do that if you want. And sometimes you have to do that when you've already created a multicam and you need to add a 4th or 5th or 6th or 27th angle, or if you just need to sync something in a sequence. But the problem is that it's very unpredictable, and it often moves the things that are already critically in sync out. Like it moves the things already in your timeline to your new clip, so that throws a bunch of things out of whack. So what I would do is make a new sequence, copy and paste those things in there, synchronize them, and then copy them back in after they've been synchronized. Does that make any sense? Hopefully it does. The other thing to avoid at all costs, I don't even know why this function is in Premiere. It really should be removed. Is if I were to say, where is it? Maybe it has been removed. It's called merge clip. Maybe they finally removed it. Okay, so if that's the case, forget what I'm going to say. Anyway, merge clip, if you're on an older version of Premiere, don't use it because it destructively combines everything, and then the Pro Tools guys can't do anything with the audio files. So it's bad. Don't do it. So the correct way is, once again, select the clips, and I have it mapped. Multicam source sequence, right? Audio. Then the other way you could do it, which is even faster, is if you use endpoints and you use the Slate clapperboard, align those all up. And even faster than that is if you go, well, I say it's faster because there's no synchronizing time, but it takes longer to find the endpoint. But the time code is the absolute fastest. So if you have audio time code, or if you have time code, rather, going to all the cameras and the audio source, it literally is instant. Then they would all just be literally that fast, and there's no synchronizing. So I think that's about it for Multicam and Premiere. Hopefully that is something that answered some of your questions. And I plan to do some more master classes and some more coaching. So check out my website where you can find out more of that, danseffects.tv/courses. Sign up there when that gets launched. Also, please like and subscribe on YouTube, and let me know what you like. If there's anything that you would like to hear more about, be trained on. And yes, hey Tyler, that's a great idea. Do a highlights of what I said. Are you volunteering to edit it for me? No, I will. That's great. Okay, on the synchronizing. Yeah. That's a good point. That's fun seeing your name up there. Maybe. Oh, by the way, have you used video.ai? Video, like spelled like video, VIDYO.ai. It's cool. I started using it on a couple clips, but for making reels. But the free version is like super slow. I don't know if the paid version is any faster. But it's fast at using AI to find reels it thinks are good reels, but it's just hard to edit them from there. But anyway, that's a cool thing I've been using. So I think that's all I had in my list today. I was thinking about doing the next one on like multicam editing for film editing, and managing audio and video clips together and using a slate and all that. It's not much different, but might be redundant. So let me know. All right, until next time, stay creative and God bless.